Yo, what up, everybody? What's good? What's happening? That's right. The midweek report is back. Yep, that is right. The Boxing Source Midweek Report is here live, man. And, we got a good number of things here, that we got to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Of course, a lot of news has, dropped and everything like that. So we definitely want to talk about all of this stuff here, man. So um, we got a lot of topics that we want to go over. You know what I'm saying? And we are going to, try to get through each one of these things here. And, we want to also get your thoughts about each of these topics, man, because, we got a lot of stuff that's going on within the boxing world. And, we want to actually get, feedback, from the fans of those that, support the sport of boxing, those, that are listening live here on the Midweek Report for the Boxing Source. We thank y'all for listening live. And also those that are listening on the replay, we want to thank y'all too for supporting the Boxing Source. But, we got a number of things here that we're going to, be talking about. And, wanted to kind of break things down here, bit by bit, piece by piece, man. And, we wanted to, start off with the first topic, with this thing here with Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya. Looks like, there's a whole different little thing going on between these two. Looks like they're clashing or whatever it is as far as like what could be next for Ryan Garcia. Of course, you know about Garcia having his bout last month against Cavante. Tank Davis was stopped in that particular bout against Tank Davis at the T-Mobile Arena. Of course, you know that it was a very successful event as far as financially goes. Some people felt like, as a from a fight perspective, maybe it didn't quite, live up to, I guess, the so-called hype. But hey, they got the numbers, sold out crowd, T-Mobile Arena, big numbers on pay-per-view. So, Ryan Garcia is coming off of that, and was definitely, a lot richer coming off of that particular event for sure. But now, we kind of like talked about this. Uh, soon after that bout took place, and that was, what's next for Ryan Garcia. But before we get into all that and the rest of those topics, I wanted to add in a great person here to talk about these topics. You kind of known that he has been a frequent guest here with the Boxing Source, and that I was a co-host yesterday with Real Boxing with Coach Ronnie Shields, with the host of War Week Radio Network, Mr. Joseph Heron. What's going on, Joseph?
Hey, brother, how are you doing today? It's such a beautiful day. Clear sky, still lots of sun at 8:24 p.m. Central Time, where I am in San Antonio, Texas. And I tell you what, I'm just still very happy and very content with how much fun we had last night on the show with Coach Ronnie Shields. Yeah, it's always a lot of fun, isn't it?
Oh yes, yes it is. Yes it is. And, we definitely broke down those fact or fictions there with Coach Ronnie Shields. Of course, Coach is out there, in Texas, close to around the Houston area, and deals with a lot of great fighters, and he has dealt with a lot of great fighters over the course of his training career, and also being a former fighter himself. So it's great to kind of prick his brain a little bit about various topics there in the sport of boxing. And hopefully, I'll be able to get more of that here later on down the line. I also just might be able to pay a visit to Coach Ronnie Shields in his area over in Texas next week. But that, still is a work in progress. But, we're definitely working on that here with the Boxing Source. So,
Sugarland, Texas, right outside of Houston, brother. Yep.
Yep. That would be a very good one if I'm able to do that. Now, here we are on the midweek report for May 31st, 2023. And, I pretty much just started the first main topic there for the midweek report. And that is, the little dealings with Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. Of course, Ryan Garcia was coming off of, his bout with Gervonta Tank Davis at the T-Mobile Arena. Of course, he fell short, went down to one knee from a body shot, and, that was that. But, coming off of that particular event and seeing how successful that event was, people are kind of like seeing him as being still a guy of high interest in the sport of boxing. So, people are trying to figure out, okay, what's next for Ryan Garcia? Well, over the previous few weeks, it kind of seemed like he may have, tried to get a few things buzzing, and one of those things that kind of like came up a few days ago was him potentially fighting the WBA super lightweight champion, the newly crowned WBA super lightweight champion, Rolando Rolly Romero there, of course.
Well, and that still very well may happen, although it was ordered once again by the WBA, Gilberto Mendoza Jr., which, well, you very well may pay him a visit when you're in Texas as well. Yep. And it's going to be interesting. I'm sure one of the questions you're going to ask is, well, is Team Romero willing to pay O'Hara Davies, his mandatory challenger ordered by the WBA, some step aside? Because if they do that, once again, O'Hara Davies, he's not used to making, he's not one of the biggest earners in boxing, put it that way.
Right.
And so if they give him, and once again, if you're a contender who's never made a lot of money, if you're going to get free money from someone just to allow a fight to go ahead, why wouldn't you do that? So there's still a chance that fight may happen. But once again, where are you going to put that fight? I mean, Rolly Romero, is he going to be allowed to compete on DAZN? Because in this scenario, Ryan Garcia is the overwhelming breadwinner. That creates a huge quandary. And once again, keep in mind, guys, and this is the problem with Golden Boy's contract with all of their fighters. Golden Boy's contract directly is with DAZN.
Yes.
Okay. Ryan Garcia's contract is not with DAZN. It's with De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, which makes him a free agent for any platform. And that's the quandary. Ryan Garcia and his management, they're not happy. They haven't been happy since the Ryan Garcia debacle, in which Goldie, well, even though there was no public, the arena, and you were there, right? There was no fans still left in the facility when they had the press conference. Yet, Oscar De La Hoya used the excuse that he had death threats, which is absolute nonsense. I heard it was for a different reason from 5 different people who were there all week, James. And they said, well, he was under the influence of something the entire week, and once again, you go back and look at his history. This is par for the course for Oscar De La Hoya, right? He's been, and this is why he fell out of good terms with Richard Schaefer back in the day. And once again, you saw them start to drift apart. And obviously, well, Richard Schaefer did what he did, and now it's not a very good look as being CEO of the corporation. But nonetheless, he did that, and that was a result of Oscar. Well, let's just call it what it is. He's a flake. He's a flake. He's unreliable, and he's a flake. And once again, it caused that rift between him and Canelo. Now it looks like it's happening with him and Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
And this is par for the course, guys, with Oscar De La Hoya. Now, once again, guys, since I will say this, since the late, great Don Chargan passed away, the senior advisor for Golden Boy Promotions, and ever since Richard Schaefer left as CEO, the one steering the ship, yeah, they've turned into a second-rate promotional entity. And Ryan Garcia is seeing this after getting a taste of working with Tom Brown Promotions and Al Heyman.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, the thing about it is he's seen what, Tom Brown was able to do. He's seen what Showtime was able to do, with Steven Espinoza and the like. And he sees how things are pretty much done under Showtime in comparison with, the Zone. And now it's like a whole different, a whole different world, basically.
Well,
And,
my apologies. What was the last thing you heard from me? Because it looks like I lost connectivity for some reason.
yeah. You were talking about, how things were done under Tom Brown or TGB Promotions, and they pretty much cut off from there.
And yeah, he got a taste of what a more professional platform and outfit looks like. He got a taste of that. He got a taste of the big time. And do you really think now he wants to compete with Oscar De La Hoya and DAZN any longer? No. Guys, and if you notice, all of the opponents that he has singled out, his small laundry list of opposition, well, none of those guys are with Golden Boy or DAZN at this time. And once again, you can't blame him. Look at how DAZN handled that huge pay-per-view. They had to give refunds and credits to their existing subscribers because they couldn't deliver the package.
They couldn't, deliver the package. They didn't have the capabilities to, handle the so-called bandwidth or whatever it is in order to, host as much attention as that particular fight, has. And so, with that being said, I mean, you can't necessarily have your next fight, I guess, have those type of risks if you're Ryan Garcia, one, but two, like you said, Ryan Garcia is a Golden Boy fighter. He is not a DAZN fighter. And that actually was a pretty significant factor in him having to fight with Tank Davis and how that particular deal, was able to take place. So now he is like saying, okay, I'm getting all this, from one fight coming off from Tank Davis. Now it's like, why would I want to, one, go back to DAZN where, like you said, you don't really have the choices that he was talking about. They ain't necessarily, DAZN fighters, one. And then two, is like two of those guys pretty much like, fighting under, Showtime Sports or whatnot, or pretty much have done so, with the exception of Teofimo Lopez. And we'll see what happens with him come this following Saturday against Josh Taylor. But I mean, hey, it's you go from that to, whatever could be possible under Golden Boy Promotions. And, that whole thing with him and Oscar De La Hoya, that's not the first time that they've kind of, had little issues as far as like making fights. You know what I'm saying? You've had stuff years back where he had a clash about, when he had that Romero Duno fight years back, how they clashed as far as like who his opponent was going to be back then. So, and, like you said there, Joseph,
that is true.
If you seen what happened with Canelo Alvarez, now you see what's happening now with you. And yeah, you did have a good number of things to say in reference to Canelo Alvarez, but
oh boy,
now you're seeing it now while you're basically Golden Boy's quote unquote number one guy now.
Yep.
Now you see how they're, doing things. Now you see how they operate. Now you see what happens when, Oscar De La Hoya is, there in the limelight or in the spotlight during the big fight. And I could also add, Bernard Hopkins, and some of the stuff that Bernard Hopkins was saying during that weekend was not, all too welcoming to a few folks that worked with fighting, making that fight take place on April 22nd as well. So it's like you're seeing all of this and you're like, these guys could really hinder me from, really progressing my career from this point forward. So, I'm very interested
So
in
let me
seeing-
ask you something, James. Do I get to do my Oscar De La Hoya impression now?
Yeah, you could do it.
Because he said this, and this is absolutely ridiculous, guys. And once again, this is how desperate Oscar De La Hoya and company have become. Right? Look, so once again, he said this to the media in attendance, right? He said this, quote, "Look, I'm going to give you guys the exclusive here. I'm also looking at Manny Pacquiao. That I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve. It would be like at a catchweight. I'm not sure what, but I'm going to pursue that and all other options. We'll see what the best option is for Ryan." End quote. Yeah, I can't believe he's bringing this up once again just to try and keep Ryan interested. This is not good. This is not good. One, I don't think anyone would be interested in seeing that fight at this time.
Nah.
Once again, I know this. We're talking about Ryan Garcia. Manny Pacquiao, though, how well did the Yordenes Ugas pay-per-view do?
Not good at all.
And that was when he was still somewhat active. Now that he's fighting, he's an exhibition retired fighter. He's a full-time senator. Who would be interested in purchasing that fight?
Like what would be the interest in that particular bout? That would kind of like not make much sense at all. Especially for someone like Ryan Garcia, who still has a good amount of time ahead of him in his professional career. So why even try to go after this particular fight against Manny Pacquiao? You know what?
You know what? Honestly, I think people would be more interested if Oscar came out of retirement and fought Ryan himself. Honestly, wouldn't everyone love to see Ryan whoop his ass?
Probably would, garner more interest. They probably would make more of a profit if that particular fight did take place.
Have it like a WWF promotional match. Yeah, this is this bout is for one fall. And it's and once again, the winner. Okay, if Oscar wins, he gets to keep Ryan under his promotional contract until 2026, because technically that's how long he's under contract with Golden Boy. That's a long time. And then if Ryan wins, boy, he gets to be a free agent in every sense. That would sell. That would sell a lot more than Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, it would. And I mean, you got, of course, like I said, you have the tweets that were, coming off from both of those guys. Oscar De La Hoya had made the post on let me see if it has the thing. It had it on the evening of last night actually. And this was an hour after Ryan Garcia said 3 people I want to fight next, and we talked about those guys: Rolly Romero, Isaac Cruz, and Teofimo Lopez. And then Oscar De La Hoya goes in 1 hour later and says, "Who should Ryan Garcia fight next?" I'm like, it's almost like he didn't quite listen to or kind of respect what Ryan Garcia was doing at that particular sense. So it's like, I don't know.
This is the same problem. They're not on the same page. Do you remember when everyone before COVID, when everyone was floating around the idea that Canelo was going to fight Billy Joe Saunders next? And once again, I worked the Jaime Munguia, Spike O'Sullivan fight in San Antonio. And I asked him, I said, look, there are rumors that he's going to be fighting Canelo, or Canelo's going to be fighting Billy Joe Saunders next. And he looks at me and goes, Yeah, man. I haven't even met with Canelo yet. And that's the case here, guys. They were supposed to have a meeting on Tuesday. That never happened. That never happened. In fact, Ryan's management has reported that De La Hoya hasn't even contacted them. Neither has Eric Gomez.
Ooh. Oh, and you know what? I just thought of something too in reference to Golden Boy. What recently happened with Golden Boy Promotions a few months ago?
I don't know to what you're referring.
In reference to them making fights. Who recently left them?
Hold on real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead, enlighten me, brother. I forgot. Go ahead, tell me.
Now remember, they used to have, their matchmaker there.
Oh, Roberto Diaz. Yes,
Roberto Diaz.
Well, yeah. That, and once again, I was very surprised. Like, you remember this time last year, Oscar De La Hoya was in the process of possibly selling Golden Boy and moving to Las Vegas, right? In my opinion, he should have done that. Okay, and once again, they let Roberto Diaz go because, once again, I don't think they could afford him any longer. That's my opinion. And that was Eric Gomez is still a very good matchmaker, but he's a CEO now. He's not handling that part of the business, right? So who do they have as a chief matchmaker?
Man, I wouldn't know. Like,
is it another one of Oscar's family members, or is it another one of his high school friends? Because guys, when Golden Boy first formed, Eric Gomez, he was just his high school buddy. He knew nothing about the business. My mentor, the same guy who taught me the business, taught Eric Gomez, Richard Schaefer, and Oscar the business. They knew nothing about staging fights. In fact, Richard Schaefer had never even attended a live fight before signing on being CEO of Golden Boy Promotions. And that's how little they knew about the boxing business. And without Don Chargan being the senior advisor, yeah, they've turned into a second-rate promotional outfit. And that is the God's honest truth, guys. And we're seeing that once again. We're seeing this dissension within Golden Boy Promotions. This is par for the course, guys.
Yep. And this one is, kind of an important time there for Golden Boy Promotions. Like I said, you're coming off this thing here with Ryan Garcia in his fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. Now you got coming up, in a couple months, another big fight in reference to Virgil Ortiz Jr. against Iamana Stanionis. That's going to be there in July in San Antonio, Texas. There where, area where Joe is at. And you also, of course, have Jaime Munguia involved in an event against Sergey Derevyanchenko that's coming up. And, Oscar De La Hoya had some crazy comments about that particular fight too. So it's like what are they doing within Golden Boy Promotions where it's something, because you kind of like view Golden Boy Promotions historically as one of those premier boxing, promotional organizations, but with how they're being run right now, it's kind of like they're almost like at the brink of, falling out by the wayside.
Yeah, this is a huge quandary for DAZN. Once again, they love the idea of featuring the new Mexican standout within the American market, and that's Ryan Garcia. But yeah, he doesn't have a great relationship with Golden Boy right now. There's a lot of dissension there, and that's not good for DAZN. And especially when you consider that they're having cold feet with the desire to fund Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol. That is an expensive main event. And look, they're coming off. They're not feeling very good about Canelo right now.
Yeah.
They're coming off a very disappointing pay-per-view, right?
Yep.
In which John Ryder, Canelo Alvarez only did about 200,000 purchases. That's not good when you consider how much Canelo has grown accustomed to receiving. Guaranteed. Yeah, they're not all that high on funding that very expensive main event. Not only is Canelo expecting a huge purse because it's a very risky fight in which he lost the first time. But now Dimitri Bivol is expecting a huge inflated purse for his efforts.
Yes.
This is not good for the zone. And so once again, when you hear Eddie Hearn talk about, well, just laying into Bob Arum, right? Oh, you know, they're done. The biggest fight he's done for years and years and years is Haney Lomachenko. And it did only 150,000 buys. Actually, it was more around 130. He says, Top Rank have no big fights. Let me ask you a question. What's the last big fight that Top Rank has done? No one can answer that question. It's not even a big fight. It did 150,000 buys. They're done, finished. They're not, ESPN's not renewing their contract. And he just laid into them. Guys, I'm here to tell you, there's a very good possibility, out of necessity, that Canelo, for his next fight, will indeed work with Tom Brown Promotions and Steven Espinosa and make David Benavidez a reality for September. Because right now, they can't understand it. Eddie Reynoso and Canelo Alvarez, they are not receiving a whole lot of interest for this fight with Dimitri Bivol from anybody.
Yeah. And this is great timing too, in reference to, as I say, Santos Saul Alvarez Barragan, because hey, he was, looking like, hey, after this thing here with, John Ryder, I'm gonna have a fight in Mexico, and then I'm gonna see about having another fight with Dimitri Bivol. But when those numbers were crunched for that particular fight, the zone is saying like, are we sure that we want to take that risk in having another fight with Dimitri Bivol, given how much they lost with that first fight? And so that set the stage for a good little bit of an opportunity for a guy by the name of Samson Lukowicz to put out an open letter towards Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reynoso.
Yeah. Yep. And guys, once again, don't be shocked if that fight becomes a reality and he doesn't compete on DAZN in his next fight, right?
Yep. It is funny because it's like you had Samson Lukowicz say on this letter, on Monday, May 29th at 4:45 p.m., I emailed you what I'm sure would be one of the most lucrative offers of Canelo Alvarez's career to face Benavidez. Please know that you do indeed have an offer to face Benavidez, a sizable one, and I must tell you that I'm offended by your claim that I'm fantasizing about making this fight happen. Actually, that gives me an idea. I need to send a little bit of an email to a Mr. Samson Lukowicz.
Yeah, you know what? Samson's always been a straight. Yeah, Samson's always been a straight shooter. Yes. He's always been very forthcoming. And he's always been a great guy for the sport, and everyone likes him within the business. Yeah. And once again, you know where you stand. Unlike the guys from the guys from Golden Boy Promotions. Like, I don't understand what they're thinking when they make these kind of three-way deals, like doing business, just getting dates with their platform, their respective platform, and really not sharing that. And once again, DAZN, they don't like the idea that they can't get Ryan Garcia under direct contract.
Right. That really hurts them. That really hurts them at this point because they know that Ryan Garcia could potentially be a good moneymaker for them and that they could work some things out in order for, their party and Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy,
Look, if
work.
if DAZN is smart, they're gonna do what Ken Hirschman did and what Lou DiBella did before them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically that's saying, look, we're not going to sign contracts with any promoter, any fighter. We just are interested in putting forth the most money to make the biggest fights a reality. That would actually spawn much greater results because all of these exclusive deals that they've actually made, has it resulted in greater subscriber numbers in both the UK and the American market? No, it hasn't. Their biggest money comes in from other sports, other leagues, not boxing. Boxing has not been a moneymaker yet for them.
Right.
Now, all you have to do and once again, I know there are a lot of platforms out there, right, that will insist that, oh, DAZN's great. Oh, Showtime bad. Oh, DAZN's good. Oh, Showtime evil. Guys, whenever you hear that kind of crap from any platform, turn and run very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not the reality. Once again, all you need to know to understand that DAZN has not made any money from boxing, investing in boxing, is look at the subscriber fee every month. How much is it now?
Oh man, it's been rising big time over the past couple
Was
years.
it $24.99?
Per month now? Yeah, probably.
Yep, $24.99 per month. And then you look and you still have to pay for pay-per-views. Their biggest events. That tells you everything you need to know about how much they made from the business of boxing.
Yep. And so it's like and remember, I mean, this is still a company that still, does a lot of outsourcing for a lot of production for their content. So it's not like, all of their stuff is in-house like an ESPN or a Showtime Sports or whatnot,
Yep.
So once you, when you deal with that type of stuff, then that's why, costs have to go up basically, or at least now, because it's like either they're going to have to make that full-time conversion of having an actual crew, like an actual production team, TV crew, all that type of stuff, or they're going to have to continue to outsource. And that's basically, what they're doing now. I mean, they've been, doing an outsource type of thing, since their inception. All they do is just buy rights to stuff.
That's it.
And so that's what they've been doing with boxing, is buying the rights, for stuff internationally and just getting, those within that area to do the production and everything like that. That's why you have this stuff that's happening with DAZN, with their issues as far as like their feed and all that type of stuff, because they don't have the proper infrastructure to do all of that yet.
That's a very good point. And once again, this is what happened. And DAZN thought that they were going to come into the industry, take over everything now that HBO was ducking out of the business, and they were going to spend a ton of money and just take everything over. And it hasn't worked out that way. And once again, it's always been, and John Chargan taught me this, it's always been a very terrible business practice for the health of the sport, for people to spend exorbitant amounts of money for talent and events. Okay, because once you actually give fighters inflated purses, they don't want to give you a discount in the future. Okay, we're seeing that right now with Devin Haney. He's not going to have he's going to have a very hard time now getting another fight for the rest of 2023.
Yep.
And do you really think Canelo is going to want to face the beasts of 68 or 75 for a discount?
Yeah,
No.
That's not going to happen.
Nope.
No.
This is tough. This is a very bad time. Once again, Terrence Crawford is making a killing off his fight with Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah.
And you know what? In Terrence Crawford's mind, he's making a concession. He's only, listen to this. Oh, I met them halfway and I'm only making $10 million for this fight. Now think about this in Crawford's mind, right? He's not worth $10 million realistically, but in his mind, wait a minute, I just made $6 million for Sean Porter. I made $5 million for Avanesian. Now I'm going to have to take only $10 million for a guy like Errol Spence. That's the problem, guys. That's why it took so long to make this fight a reality. And that's the problem the business has when they start feeding these guys inflated purses.
Extreme inflated purses. And, all of that, kind of like blends in, with all of the stuff that, we have, as far as like the topics here. We had the thing for, the thing with Devin Haney, where, Devin Haney just coming off of, his bout there against Vasily Lomachenko, where he got a guarantee of $4 million.
Yep.
And with him having a guarantee, and I mean, I know that, a good number of fans or, those that listen live kind of like, get the idea of, how purses are, how they kind of work, especially if you have what they call a quote unquote A-side fighter, is that particular fighter that has the bulk of the purse pretty much commands the percentage of what the opponent makes. And the bigger the opponent, the bigger that they get from that purse. And so with Haney and Lomachenko, with the name of Lomachenko behind it,
yep,
he got a good amount of money for upfront for that fight.
So once again, we talked on the show last night with Coach Ronnie. Now, once again, for a rematch, how much do you think Devin Haney would be asking for? Now, keep in mind, not only has he already grown accustomed to making well above his realistic market value, but now, well, he won the first fight. He's killing himself to make 35. How much do you think he would want realistically from ESPN and Top Rank for a rematch? Now, keep in mind, this guy only drew over 130,000 purchases. This is why you're not going to see a rematch, because it's almost like going to a car dealership and you still owe more than what the car's worth, trying to finance a deal for a new vehicle. You're upside down. Top Rank and ESPN, they're like, you know what? Sorry, we fold. We fold. We gambled. We gambled the first time.
Yep.
We're not in the business of losing money. And you know what? Especially if you're not under contract with Top Rank. No, we're gonna fold. We're gonna pull out. You can go somewhere else, Junior.
Yeah, and that is where Devin Haney. I feel like he's going to be in the bind in this particular instance, and this is the second part or the second main topic here. He has the high guarantees. He is the undisputed champion at lightweight, but you have that moniker tied to you. That is one thing that you could hold while you're at 135. But if you're not going to be staying at 135 and you're moving up to 140, then what do you have? You really don't have, the you don't have the name enough. It's not there yet for you to go up to 140 and make a challenge to potentially, as some may have said, Regis Prograis there for the WBC belt, or maybe the winner of Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor, if he was still able to work with Top Rank. But since you had that high guarantee stuck with you for that Lomachenko fight, Top Rank's going to be like, regardless of who wins, if it's Josh Taylor or if it's Teofimo Lopez, we're not going to be paying that much money in order to have you get back in the ring, especially if it's going to be at 140 for one belt instead of an undisputed title. So that's number one. Number two, let's say, by the slightest of possibilities, he stays at 135 pounds. If he does that, and no, of course, there won't be that rematch against Lomachenko. And, well, since Top Rank is like having a feeling of, you're too costly for us. So not only will we not be interested in having you put in a rematch against Lomachenko, we wouldn't have you in there against Shakur Stevenson because we feel like that would be too much money for us to put up. So then there will be only one other direction for Devin Haney to go, and that is Gervonta Tank Davis, which isn't going to work for him either because your high guarantee ain't going to work with no team.
No, dude. Look. No. They're
not when you had what was that pay-per-view number again for Haney Lomachenko?
130,000. Yeah.
Now 130,000. Shoot, that ain't really that much more than what Gervonta Tank Davis has in his opponents outside of Ryan Garcia. He's pulled numbers higher than that against other opponents. So what are you going to do? How are you going to step up in the negotiation table against Gervonta Tank Davis, regardless if you have it all the belts at 135?
They had better call BLK Prime and see if they're still in business. That's it.
I don't know, man. BLK Prime or have something work out with Don King Promotions or something. But
oh, geez, King.
Now, like you said, don't be surprised if it's going to be really difficult for Devin Haney to have a fight in 2020, in the back half of 2023.
Yeah, guys, you're seeing this across the board too. And once again, Alexander Usyk recently learned a very hard lesson within the business of boxing. Frank Warren, Hall of Fame veteran promoter, right? Mm-hmm. Again, Alexander Usyk was demanding. They were trying to work out a deal with Daniel Dubois and Frank Warren, Alexander Usyk and his team, Alex Krejcik, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, Cleveland, yeah, they were asking for upward near $15 million. And Frank Warren goes, no. You know what? We're going to let this go to purse bid. And you're going to see how much you're really worth. Okay, because this matchup is worth nowhere near there. You're individually worth nowhere near there. And you're going to find out the hard way, young man, how much you're really worth. And once again, he's right there in line. And I call it a member of the Terrence Bud Crawford Club, in which you get a guy accustomed to receiving inflated purses, thinks he's worth X amount of dollars, thinks because he's one of the best fighters in boxing, that's ultimately going to equate in the biggest asking price, in the biggest demand in boxing. It doesn't work that way, guys. Maybe it used to in healthier eras when it was still considered a sport. Now it's a business. And I tell you what, Alexander Usyk now, after that purse bid last Thursday, once again, his promoter, Alex Krejcik, he won with $8 million only. That means Alexander Usyk went from making $40 million from the Saudis, inflated purse, inflated his sense of worth, Now he's going to be making $6 million. Daniel Dubois is going to be making $2 million, and they're going to be staging this fight in Poland.
Yep.
Welcome to the business of boxing, young man.
Man, and that was the thing that, like you said, like Frank Warren was talking about initially when the Fury Usyk talks started falling apart. He was saying, okay, now you're going to really find out how much Alexander Usyk's really worth. Because if you're going to go ahead and you're going to say, hey, we don't want this undisputed title fight with Tyson Fury, guess what? We're gonna see where you're gonna be able to go, and we have you as they say by the proverbial balls. Because if you're not gonna face Fury, hey, we got another one of our guys that is a mandatory challenger. So you don't really have the freedom to go wherever you want and try to get off of this.
So all of these lesser channels, right? And once again, this is a lesson to why everyone who's listening. All of these lesser channels who are trying to pin this on Tyson Fury and Frank Warren holding this thing up. Guys, understand that Alexander Usyk the entire time was trying to demand all kinds of sick, inflated money. All these strange, absurd, huge demands, thinking that he was the A-side, the breadwinner. Okay, if you're so popular, why the hell, if you've got that kind of market value, why are you staging this fight in Poland? And why did your own promoter only win the purse bid with an $8 million bid, right? If you're worth that much. Now, keep in mind, guys, this should tell you everything you need to know. Alexander Usyk, despite making an inflated purse in Saudi, that's not his realistic market value, guys.
Right.
He's not a ticket seller anywhere.
Ask Bob Arum.
Yep. Okay, now keep in mind, that didn't fly with Tyson Fury or Frank Warren or Bob Arum. And every fan was trying to blame this on Tyson Fury. Guys, wake up. He's not the root of this. It was Alexander Usyk with this inflated sense of worth. Now you guys should understand the truth. Have you noticed all of these other sites that were blaming all of this on Tyson Fury? Have they said anything about the purse bid?
I haven't seen anything.
Have you heard a peep?
Haven't seen anything about that. Like, are they saying, okay?
And you're not going to, once again, guys.
Is that?
And you're not going to, guys. Once again, all of these channels that have never worked a day in their lives in this business, okay, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Now, shout out to my local family out here, talk in the building. He did say like Daniel Dubois is coming off of injury, pretty much it's like ACL, whatever. It says I'll be shocked if that fight happens. Well, hey, I mean the thing is, one, they were able to host this first bid, so think about it is they already went to work as far as like trying to stage this fight. So hey. August 12th in Wrocław, Poland. So what is that? Another 2 months? Pretty much more than 2 months.
No. Once again, even guys who are reporting, even guys who write for the sport, right? Guys who cover the sport, beat writers, they were even clueless about why Frank Warren was staging this pay-per-view or staging this first bid, right? Why Frank Warren? Oh, they were assuming, I think they're buying themselves more time to allow Daniel Dubois to heal.
Oh, that was the thing that folks were putting out there.
And I'm like, no, guys, you guys don't get it. And once again, it's quite shocking. These are guys who should understand the business of it. And most people don't. And so that's once again, that's something that James and myself, that's what we do on our channels. We give you guys the skinny on the business of boxing. You may not want to hear it. You may not like it, but it's the reality. And we do this so you guys have a better understanding why some of these things happen. So you're not as disgruntled and say, oh, we never get the big fights. Just so you guys understand why certain fights happen and why certain fights fall apart.
So that's right. It's like, who's it? Ric Flair says, you like it or don't like it, learn to love it.
Learn to love it.
Woo!
That's it, guys. That's it. And once again, going back to Devin Haney, that's why you guys aren't seeing a rematch. I know everyone is crying for one. And you know what? There should be one. If there was ever a scenario that constituted a rematch and that deserved a rematch, it's Haney-Lomachenko. But you're not going to get it, guys. One, Haney just demands way too much money. Two, no one bought the pay-per-view. Now, James, I'm going to say this. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
In my opinion, well, maybe not. I don't know, because it's become such a huge calamity. Mm-hmm. Everyone's screaming robbery. Everyone with this controversial take of screaming corruption. In my opinion, James.
Yeah.
If ESPN were to roll the bones and gamble again and give Devin Haney what he wanted, in my opinion, I think the rematch would do considerably better on pay-per-view.
If they would have to jump on it as quickly as possible and make the rematch as quickly as possible and say, hey, look, Dev, we're gonna take this risk. We're gonna see about what you want this time around, and we're gonna go forward with a rematch with Vasily Lomachenko. And this is what we can do for you. If you're willing to take it, then yeah, we'll go for it. And if all of those pieces all fell into place, then yeah, it would be successful for Top Rank and ESPN.
Like, think about this. Do you think, in your mind, now this is just you, do you think it would do better because of all the controversy, all the free press,
Yes.
albeit negative?
Yes.
Do you think the pay-per-view would perform better this time?
Yes. Yes, it would.
See, I think so too. But once again, Bob Arum is a gambling man, but he's not in the business of losing a ton of money. He did it once with Terence Crawford. He's not going to do it again with Devin Haney.
I had Terence Crawford. Great. He's a great fighter, but he can't sell.
I could have bought a beautiful house in Beverly Hills.
With all the money that I spent on Terence Crawford. Now, Devin Haney, I give him the opportunity to get the belts just so he can face my guy, Vasily Lomachenko. He goes in, he fights Vasily Lomachenko, he pushes Vasily Lomachenko, and then he gets through this fight and gets a decision. That motherfucker.
What I think is hilarious, though, James, is all of these detractors of Devin Haney. And keep in mind, guys, I have no dog in the hunt. I couldn't care less. I don't dislike nor like Devin Haney. I just called the fight like I saw it, scored the fight like I saw it. But you get all of these people coming up with these strange theories of corruption, and they're absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Saying that, Las Vegas, they scored the fight in favor of Haney because they know it's more money for Vegas. And I'm like, dude, are they seeing the same shit I am?
Right.
I mean, come on. In what universe is Devin Haney a big attraction? This guy brings in no money anywhere.
Right. Right. Come to think of it, right? The most, I wouldn't necessarily say the most lucrative fight, but the fight that makes the most sense for Devin Haney at this point is a rematch with Vasyl Lomachenko.
That's it. That's what I was just going to say. That's his biggest money option. Look, we all know that, and we've heard this in the media. We all know that Gervonta Davis, he's going to fight Isaac Cruz in September.
Yeah.
Or when he gets out, rather, when it's time for when he comes back, right?
Yeah.
We already know that. That's why Isaac Cruz is being pitted and being the co-main event attraction for Crawford Spence. That we know that, guys. That is it. Once again, Gervonta Davis. They want an opponent a lot like the Floyd Mayweather blueprint of staging pay-per-views. They want to get the Hispanic audience in the American market involved once again. Mm-hmm. Even if they're rooting against Gervonta Davis, they don't care. They want to get that huge market who consistently purchases pay-per-views. They don't stream it illegally. And we all saw that with the 1.3 million purchases when he fought Garcia. We've all seen that with Canelo's consistently high numbers, with the exception of John Ryder.
Yeah.
So, what does Devin Haney really bring to the table, aside from those belts? And once again, when you start making money, like Gervonta Davis, do you really give a shit about the belts?
Nope. Sure don't. And the thing is, with Tank Davis fighting Isaac Cruz, that's going to be a much easier fight to make. It'll be more smooth on the negotiation table, and all the parties will make money.
And most importantly, once again, there's a very good chance you'll get the big Hispanic audience demographic involved and interested in the fight. And two, most importantly, you're not going to get a guy who's going to demand a ton of money for this fight.
Exactly. And that's the one that kind of like makes the difference in all of that.
So once again, where does Devin Haney go? Do you think Eddie Hearn wants to pay that kind of big Devin Haney inflated purse that he helped create?
Nope, not this time around.
Okay, nope. Well, look at what about Golden Boy? Now, once again, his options are, who's got the TV dates? Top Rank?
Yep.
Al Heyman? Golden Boy? And Matchroom Sport?
Yep.
Who's interested right now?
No one right now, it seems.
No. That's a big problem for Devin Haney. Once again, I hope he's in the mood for a very long vacation, because that's what he's going to get for the remainder of the year. Once again, he's suffering now from the Terrence Crawford syndrome. How long was it until Terrence Crawford landed a fight with BLK Prime?
That was pretty much a year, right?
And it's an entire year. And all of that dog shit about him getting a guaranteed $10 million, that's bull. He got $4.5 million. I know this for a fact. I know two people that were involved with the promotion.
Yep. Ain't no way you're gonna have a fight like that and have him have anywhere close to a $10 million guarantee. Come on, man. Come on. We got to stop with that. Like that. Like, I don't care what type of statement you're trying to make. Doesn't matter. As a corporation, you're not going to be putting out that much, towards one fighter like that. Not when I know with any type of research, you wouldn't put that much money towards one fighter for one fight in that particular instance or those particular situations. So,
but this is what happens, though, guys, when you pay fighters inflated purses. Like in other entertainment fields, like when you're actors, when they're not hot actors anymore, like Jim Carrey or Bruce Willis or Nicolas Cage or someone like that, they're forced to take roles for lesser money. And they're fine with doing that. It is what it is. It's the nature of the business. But they're not taking punches to the face. Prize fighters like Deontay Wilder, he's having a real big problem landing a big money fight before this same reason. He's like, well, wait a minute. You want me to go through another grueling camp, take all kinds of punishment, put my body through that for this, a fraction of what I've grown accustomed to receiving? Not going to happen. And this is why you see guys like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. This is why you saw Sean Porter ultimately retire, because he's not a huge ticket seller and he's grown accustomed to receiving these inflated purses for his efforts. And when you ask them to take less, they find that insulting and they absolutely refuse to do it. I've never met another fighter who has grown accustomed to making millions for their efforts willing to take considerably less. I've never met a one. They would rather choose to retire.
Yep. Like it was like what someone was saying about, it was very hard to, getting up from silk sheets, especially at, in the advanced stage of your career. If you're like, 10 to 12 years into your professional career, it's very tough to get in and get to camp every single day, and with that being said, you're like, is it worth me getting up to go to the gym every single day and me going through all of this if I feel like I'm not being properly compensated for? So that kind of like is a factor in the purse or what they want to or what they ask for certain fights. But also, like you said, in some of these cases, once a fighter hits a certain amount for their purse, it's crazy hard for them to go back down.
Yep. And so like once again, Devin Haney. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I was like saying, so like you were saying, like with a Keith Thurman or with a Deontay Wilder or something like that, when you have a high guarantee or whatever it is, be it at your advanced stage of your career, once your overall value goes down, it's very difficult for you to, say, hey, okay, I'll accept this in order to get back in the ring.
So. Okay. Yep. And so, look, guys, I hope Devin Haney, once again, and anyone who thinks he's in a really great spot, well, technically he is. He's a very young man and he's a millionaire. He's made a lot of money over his last 4 fights. So all I can say is this: don't spend it all in one place. Don't act like Adrian Broner between fights, because from this point forward, unless you agree to take considerably less, you're not going to step in the ring anytime soon.
Yeah.
That's the reality, guys. That's the reality.
And you know what? There's only, if you are looking for a high purse, there's only one fight that I may see that could be a bailout plan for you right now at this point. And it's a real far stretch or a real long stretch. And he didn't name you as a list of your potential opponents that he wanted to fight either. And that's Ryan Garcia.
I will say this, though. Boy, it really stinks because this is a very slow weekend in boxing. Yeah. The biggest event right now is going to be on DAZN from Detroit, Michigan, Motown. Clarissa Shields versus Maricela Cornejo. Are you interested in that, James?
No, I'm not.
No.
Just being honest.
No, dude. I'm actually more excited that Dimitri Salita got the 4 tops to do the national anthem.
Yeah. Yeah, when we got that news, I was like, hey. Yeah, the great Motown legends there, man, the 4 tops. Especially when the original fight got scrapped because of, that was.
So I'll tell you what, though, we can look forward, though. What did you think of Josh Taylor And I told you this yesterday. Be careful what you do, because this guy, you really don't want to piss him off.
Yeah, he had some, he had
Josh Taylor, guys, think what you want. He may look like a clean-cut, a good guy, but this is a mean son of a gun. Yeah. He's got a mean streak, and he is nasty in the ring. Yeah. He is not above, right? He is he will do anything to get the upper hand in the ring. This is a dirty, mean guy in the ring. Right. And even outside of the ring, he'll spit in your face at the weigh-in.
Now, the thing is, I think that, and this may include me, I think, his performance against Jack Catterall kind of like turned a few people off from him.
Me included.
How good he is. Now, I mean, I kind of like put him up there as far as like one of those very talented fighters, especially coming off of his performance against Jose Ramirez. But, when he fought Jack Catterall, I felt like he got cooked. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's look at what Bob Arum had to say about this. His promoter, right? His co-promoter. What did Bob Arum have to say about that performance? Oh, that was terrible. It looked like he forgot how to fight. Which was absolutely true. He looked like a novice trying to close the distance and fight aggressively.
Right. Yeah.
That's not his forte. And he looked terrible. And he did look like he forgot how to fight. But from what I've been told, that was a fat camp. He really didn't train for Jack Catterall. He merely just to make that fight and get that payday, he just lost weight. That's it.
Yeah, just cut down to make weight.
So I'm looking to see a very motivated, mean-spirited, in shape, sharp, razor-sharp version of Josh Catterall. Once again, brother, you poke at the sleeping lion. That's not very smart. Teofimo, you better be on point, or else you're going to get it. You're going to get it bad. And honestly, it's cranked this fight up to first class, in my opinion. I can't wait to see how the action plays out on June 10th.
Yeah, it's going to be very good there at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Definitely looking forward to it. And hey, I know that Teofimo Lopez talked a lot of stuff, but he better bring his best foot forward in this fight against Josh. Otherwise, it's gonna end very, very, very bad for him. Now, I say this: I was at Teo's last bout when he fought Sandor Martin, and that performance wasn't all too good, and to the point where, of course, they didn't even really have him come out there for the post-fight presser. So this.
Hold on, brother. I just received this, right? Remember we were talking about Roberto Diaz leaving Golden Boy Promotions? I put out a tweet, right, when Oscar De La Hoya said, "Oh, we're interested. We're going to try to get Manny Pacquiao for Ryan Garcia. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve."
Right.
Okay, I posted on Twitter, hot garbage. You may see Ryan Garcia pull a Canelo Alvarez to try and get out of his contract with Golden Boy. Since the passing of Don Chargan, they've turned into a second-rate promoter. Guess who actually hearted my tweet? Roberto Diaz.
Ooh.
Guys, that tells you everything you need to know.
Ooh.
That tells you everything you need to know, guys.
Yep.
That's how volatile that situation is, and that's how much dissension they're experiencing right now.
Yep.
I'm sorry to go back to that first segment. My apologies. I just had to bring that to your attention. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, but hey, if there's anyone that knows about that situation, everything Golden Boy Promotions, it is him. Shout out to those that have been sticking with us here with the Midweek Report Live. Shout out to Joseph Brown here on the live chat.
Hey, Joseph, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, and we did, we were talking about the thing there with Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. It's going to be a wild face-off, and the MSG is going to be crazy on June 10th. It's going to be, a good little build up there for that thing during fight week. There over in Madison Square Garden.
Oh boy! Now, once again, we'll get into a much more specific breakdown of that fight the closer we get to it.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I also love in this, and this is a huge question. And this is going to take place in, once again, Ontario, California. Jaime Munguia that same evening on the zone. Jaime Munguia takes on Sergey Derevyanchenko. In Coach Gogi's mind. He said, he's a shot fighter. That's the only reason why they signed that fight. And very seldom is he ever incorrect in his assessment.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I've come to respect and love about Coach Gogi. He doesn't sugarcoat anything to be politically correct.
Right.
And to spare anyone's feelings. He tells it like it is. James, do you think that Sergey Derevyanchenko has anything left after his deep amateur background, the years of wear and tear, the tough assignments turning pro? Does he have anything left to pull off the upset against Jaime Munguia?
I don't think he does, and I think that is something that I think the team for Golden Boy or whatever, I think that is why they made this particular matchup for Jaime Munguia. This is kind of what they were planning on, so to speak, as far as like the development there for Jaime Munguia's career. Now he's supposedly there as a guy to be a contender in the middleweight division. Has had the high rankings there in the middleweight division ever since he moved up, but he's been taking like these particular fights or whatever it is, specifically because it's like the team kind of sees it. They're not quite ready to put him up against the likes of a Jamal Charlo, or
even Shanabek Ali Manala. He had two opportunities to actually make that fight a reality. He was the number one mandatory challenger, number one contender twice. Turned it down.
Yep.
Right? And for good reason. Janabek against a very aggressive-minded fighter. Yeah, he looks like a pound-for-pound badass.
Yep.
Right? I will say this, though, regarding Jaime Munguia. If Coach Gogi is right, which most of the time he is, if he is correct and that Sergey is indeed a shot fighter, you're going to see it very early. He won't be able to take the power of Jaime Munguia. But if he does have something left in the tank, if you still see his legs underneath him, if you still see that threshold for pain and for punishment, he's got the tools. He's got the ability to pull off the upset. He is much more skilled, much better in the pocket than Jaime Munguia, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
Because of all the, once again, you look at his footwork, it's very reminiscent of Usyk, Lomachenko, fighters of that ilk, Bam Rodriguez. He's very good at maneuvering around in the pocket, showing his opponents different angles from very short range and forcing them to pivot and reset. And that's something that Jaime Munguia has never experienced as a pro. This is a guy who just comes straight ahead and is dependent on being flat-footed for all of his power. Now, he throws very well in short, compact combination to the body and head. But, guys, trust me when I'm telling you this. If Sergey can take Jaime Munguia's best shot, he's going to be able to pull off the upset, and you're going to see it Saturday, June 10th. And we'll find out very quickly within the first 3 rounds.
Yeah. Yep. Most definitely, you know. And answered Joseph Brown's question there. Yep. Derevianchenko is there at 37. The technician is 37 there. So
yep. In my opinion, he did his professional career a great disservice by hanging around too long in the amateurs. But once again, look how skilled he was coming out of the pros, like out of the amateurs and turning pro.
Yeah.
They could maneuver him really quickly and get him big fights very, very early. They didn't have to wait until he had 25, 30 fights before he got him the big assignments.
Right.
But as a result, though, he's got serious wear and tear. And once again, going back to the promotion 101, if you're not a ticket seller like Sergey Derevianchenko, you have no choice. If you're a promoter, to stick him in tough assignments, that's the only way you're going to increase his market value. And he just did not have the power to get those tough, gritty decisions. And once again, split decision against Danny Jacobs.
Yep.
And then what did he have? A very controversial close decision against Gennady Golovkin, in which a lot of fans felt he won.
Yep.
And then after that, that seemed to really take a lot out of him. Because if we look at the Jamal Charlo fight, well, that was just a wash. Jamal, with that jab, really just beat him up before he was able to even collapse the pocket. But to this day, Jamal Charlo insists that by far was his best, most skilled opponent. And you can ask him that next week, James.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see if I'll be able to catch him, out there, man, at the Houston area once I, get out to that area there next week, So that'll be one of the things there. If I'm able to, catch up with him, if he's able to answer that question, among other things. But yeah, Derevianchenko, man, they're at 37 years old. This is, kind of like one of those things where it could be like his last stand as far as like, being in a competitive spot there in the middleweight division when he goes up against Jaime Munguia coming up on June 10th.
I just never seen someone like this. And once again, we just saw Vasyl Lomachenko, the old man of the lightweight division at 35, turn back the clock. So you never know. But the big difference here is, boy, Jaime Munguia punches a lot harder than Devin Haney.
Yeah. And Vasyl Lomachenko hasn't taken as much punishment as Derevianchenko has either.
But I will say this. If Sergey Derevianchenko pulls off the upset or gets a very gets jobbed again, let's just say that. Yeah, guess who's going to be laughing his ass off online? Roberto Diaz. Because he didn't make this matchup. He didn't make this matchup. Right?
Yeah. I know he probably didn't approve of this, therefore.
It's very risky. Very risky. They better hope that he shot. Because I guarantee you this, Jaime Munguia has never seen anyone like this. Never. Joseph says this. Can you pull up his comment, please? Have you heard Sergey recent interviews about this fight? No, I haven't heard a thing.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't, seen much, much updates there. He said maybe he needs to put up some money on Sergey.
We'll find out a lot closer it gets to the fight. We'll find out during fight week.
Yeah, we'll see when the things come up. I know that I don't know if Boog Williams was out there, Big Bear, but they had the workout for Jaime Munguia out there, Big Bear. I think it was today. So they, like I said, they get their final preparations done there for that particular fight coming up on June 10th. So we'll see how that goes there on that instance. But that pretty much covers what I wanted to go through in this midweek report here with Joseph Herod of War Week Radio Network. Big thanks for Joseph to join me here on this edition of the midweek report. I know that we haven't necessarily had that many midweek reports in the recent weeks, so just trying to see about jumping off with that here once again. And we always have our podcast live on Sunday evenings here on the Boxing Source YouTube channel for y'all to tune in live. So we're definitely looking forward to that as we're going to be previewing what's coming up on the following Saturday there. Know that there really isn't that much here on this week, but we're gonna still talk about what is coming up on June 10th, and coming off of what is it? I guess tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Some people are going to find out how much money it's going to cost for those nosebleed seats for Spence.
That's right. It goes on sale, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it goes.
Well, let me ask you something. The time that we have left, and once again, we're not in the presence of Coach Ronnie.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what is your take on this? We know Jamal is currently in Mexico City for the WBC convention, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think when he said no? Mauricio Sulaiman agreed not to strip him of the WBC title, give him an interim fight, as long as he's guaranteed, as long as he promises to fight the winner of Carlos Adames, J-Rock, right? What did you think of that?
I thought that was something that was somewhat of a rarity of sorts. I mean, even given the situation that Jamal Charlo has had, I still think that was like a rarity because in previous instances, after an extended length of inactivity, either the WBC makes a ruling of having someone be a champion in recess, or or maybe the person ends up giving up the title. Like for example, with Keith Thurman when he was unified with the WBC and WBA welterweight titles, he had the extended layoff and he ended up giving up the WBC title at that at that case. At other cases, there have been people that have been like champion in recess or whatever it is. But yeah, this particular case, the WBC gave Jamal Charlo, a little bit of a benefit of sorts there for him to, continue to hold the WBC middleweight title.
Yeah, I thought it was strange because how long has he been out? I understand he's been out, he's been more inactive than Manny Pacquiao when he was stripped of the title.
Yep.
Right. And so I'm like, wow, this is very,
years. Yeah,
this is very kind of them. Yeah, I thought it was very generous of Mauricio Sulaiman. And once again, we'll see how this all plays out, but not a good look for the sport of boxing. Not a good look for the sport of boxing. And once again, you look at their decisions concerning other weight divisions, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at their decisions concerning Canelo Alvarez and 160, the surrounding divisions there. It's not a good look for the sport, guys. That inconsistency is not good for the fans, right? I will say this. Everything you need to know, though, going back, coming full circle to Golden Boy and everything that I've said about that organization. Everything you need to know, James. What happens when you try calling up the Golden Boy offices on Monday or Wednesday, today? or Friday. They're not going to be there. They only work 2 days out of the week. They're only in the office Tuesday and Thursday, brother.
Well, maybe that's why back, a few months back, right? I tried hitting up what's the woman's name?
The older PR person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember her name either. She was kind of anyway.
But I tried reaching out to her in the lead up towards Davis versus Garcia, and didn't really get a feedback or anything coming back from her. So yeah, I guess that kind of sums it up. She's operating on a couple days a week.
Yeah, she's gone now. The person they're doing her job now, the new PR person, is Jane Murcia.
No, right? I think that's who I was trying to contact.
Jane? Yeah, dude, she's never in the office, brother. She's only in the office Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh man.
And so once again, in comparison, you call up the Top Rank office at 91 or 92. How old is Bob now?
90, around 92.
Okay, Bob is still in the office at 6 a.m. and he doesn't leave until 6 p.m., 7 p.m. He is in the office 5 days a week, all day, every day. So are their matchmakers. So is Todd DeBuff. So is Carl Moretti. They're all working. That is a professional, right? That is a professional promotional company. You're always working, right? Nonstop. You're always fielding calls, nonstop. Golden Boy Promotions, best of luck. Like I said, they've turned into a second-rate promotional company that's only doing it part-time.
That's wild. 2 days a week. Goodness gracious.
Hey, how would your workload become? How much would you get done if you only had to work 2 days a week?
Man, I wouldn't be able to get nothing done. Nothing.
Yeah, that's it, guys. And once again, that's what we're looking at. This is why Ryan Garcia has become a very disgruntled fighter. This is why Canelo left him, right? This is what we're looking at. And I'm saying this, guys, with a matter of fact. It's not just my opinion. Golden Boy has turned into a second-rate promotional company. They are a Mickey Mouse organization now in comparison to Tom Brown Promotions, PBC, to Matchroom Sport, and compared to Top Rank. They shouldn't even have these TV dates that they currently have.
Yeah. I'm lucky for them to have those dates here at this point.
That's it, guys.
For them to have those dates at this point, especially, how, they are able to just put some of these cards together and some of these fights together. It's like, I mean, look, realistically, how much can you realistically get done working only Tuesday and Thursday every single week? Ain't no way.
No, dude. No.
There's no way.
This is why they have a stable still of 80 plus fighters, and they're not doing a damn thing.
Hey, how about this one, right? They have a fighter that's supposed to be a mandatory challenger for a world title, and that's supposed to. Didn't they have a recent purse bid for that? Hold on, I'm going to look that up here real quick.
What fight are you referring to, sir?
I'm talking about Hector Garcia and Lamont Roach, right? So Lamont Roach is the mandatory challenger, and they had the whole thing with him trying to get in to fight Hector Luis Garcia for that WBA junior lightweight title bout. And here's check this out. I'd say how the bad this is, right? That purse bid was won by TGB Promotions.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. That's one thing, right?
Uh-huh.
So, okay, they represent Hector Luis Garcia.
That's right.
Now,
how much was the winning bid?
Okay, the winning bid was $410,000.
Oh boy.
But here's the thing, right? The runner-up was not Golden Boy.
Of course not.
It was promotional group headed by Lamont Roach Sr.
Yep, that makes sense. Look. Do you remember? This is the same promotional company that failed to show up when Jojo Diaz won his world title by beating Tevin Farmer.
Yeah.
None of the brass at Golden Boy showed up. And once again, this is the same promotional company that ducked out and decided to party.
Oh.
When Ryan Garcia got his ass whooped.
Yeah.
Now, once again, guys, he made this absurd claim that, he was getting death threats. I don't doubt that he gets that on the weekly. But there was no public. They had already cleared the arena out of public.
Oh yeah,
right?
They completely cleared the arena of the public. They almost cleared the arena of the media people. Almost.
Well, De La Hoya wasn't there, from what I was told, because he was already effed up, and he wanted to go and party some more. That's the reality, guys.
Yep, and that's the.
And I heard that from 5 different people who were there. Now pull up Joseph Brown's last comment. This is going to be our last one, brother.
Yeah, yep. Says, I know it's off topic, but did you get a chance to hear Regis' reason for choosing Matchroom over Top Rank?
Oh my gosh, dude! Oh my gosh!
Talk about this topic here too, because
guys. Now, once again,
had a great chance.
And he was offered a lot of money by Top Rank, guys. Truth be known. He was offered a very good sum of money from Top Rank. And he said his reasoning was, I just had a feeling. Chingao, dude.
A feeling of what?
Yeah.
Yo, come on. Are you? Oh, my God. See, this is what kind of frustrates me about Regis Prograis here, right? You like him as a fighter. You like what he does in the ring. You've liked, the performances that he's had, up there in the 140-pound division.
And he's always been
against Josh Taylor.
Yep, and he's always been the underdog outside of the ring and in the ring. And look, this is a guy who I've been interviewing since he was just turning pro. And I remember him telling me, and I was very good friends with his old manager. He told me that in his first pro bout, this is a guy who no promoter wanted to touch because he didn't have a big fan base. Originally from New Orleans, had to migrate to Houston because of Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
And so he didn't have a big fan base, wasn't a big ticket seller in Houston, so the promoter didn't want to have anything to do with him. His management had to pay the promoter to allow him to compete on the card. And that's been the story of his entire career. And so we've all been rooting for the underdog. But come on. It's like you've got to start thinking about your future, brother. Making better. You're finally in this position where you're a champion in one of the most talent-rich divisions. 3 things you should have looked for. 1, TV dates. ESPN. No-brainer, right? Compared to DAZN. 2, who are your matchmakers? Bruce Trampler, come on now, and Brad Goodman, 2 Hall of Famers who have a history of putting you in the right fights at the right time. Okay, look at Eric Botcher over there at Matchroom. Once again, very good matchmaker, but he'll stick in tough, especially if you're not in a ticket seller. He'll get your ass whooped. Look at Matchroom. Look how they did Katie Taylor.
Yep. Look how they do the featherweight guys that they have out there. Look at Josh Warrington. Look at Lee Wood.
Now, once again, that's great for the fans, not great for Regis Prograis' career. And then 3, most importantly, look at the potential opposition. How can Eddie Hearn promise him Devin Haney when he's not under contract? How can he promise Subriel Matias when he's not under contract? The only thing he can promise is what? Who's a gentleman from Cleveland?
Love or Richardson Hitchens?
Montana Love, Richardson Hitchens. Those are 2 extremely difficult fights and terrible style matchups.
Yep. Jack Catterall, those aren't really, good fights, and you can't. And Matchroom, as you talked about with the zone, they're not really in a position to, especially with Matchroom Boxing USA, they're not in a position to really push and promote fights like that to where people be very interested in it, to see it where it could be in like how they love to put
and so once again
or whatever,
And James, I understand that he's originally from New Orleans.
Yeah.
But he's stayed his entire professional career in Houston, Texas, the third largest metropolitan area in America.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The 3rd largest metropolitan area in America. Why would you stage his first fight with Matchroom in New Orleans?
Yeah, you gotta.
Once again, Eddie Hearn he's still learning the American market. He doesn't have a clue when it comes to the American market. And that's blatantly obvious. He knows it. Everyone knows it. Everyone within the business. This is why his focus is almost solely on the UK market, building UK attractions. He didn't cultivate Canelo Alvarez.
Nope.
He picked him up when Golden Boy fumbled the ball. He picked it up and he's running with it right now. Who else? Who else does he have in the American market?
He don't have anybody else now. I mean, a lot of the people he had, he lost.
Yeah, not knowing the American market, he spent a ton of money, inflated purses on non-ticket sellers,
like
guys who couldn't produce for him. Daniel Jacobs, Demetrius Andrade, Devin Haney.
Like Devin Haney.
Mm-hmm.
Like it that doesn't work in America, to give fighters inflated purses and then try to feel like you could get it back by just, putting up any type of fight with those guys involved in it.
So once again, James, now understanding the business, why the hell would Regis make this decision? And once again, you want to root for Regis Prograis because of everything that he has been through personally. But come on, dude. You're shooting yourself in the damn foot. You're already past your prime, seemingly. How old is he now? 34?
Yeah.
Dude, this is your time to cash in. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, and
you're gonna be in this type of deal for at least a couple of years. So you're gonna be around 35, 36.
If Eddie Hearn and Eric Botcher doesn't get his ass whooped.
Yeah. But yeah.
And once again, if you're promised Surreal Matias. Who gives a shit? That's a guy who's
That's
considered
not even
by
important.
everyone within the business as being too much risk than reward.
Right. So why?
He's not a big ticket seller. He's not going to bring you a lot of money.
Nope.
Why would you sign for that?
Why would you, like, even for PBC? Like, why would you even sign with that for PBC? If you
Oh my gosh, dude, it's quite shocking. And once again, and Joseph Brown, I love you, brother. Thank you for always supporting these platforms and these shows. But it's almost like you just gave me a nice paper cut and poured lemon juice on it, man. Why would you bring this up again? Oh, Chingao.
Yeah.
Just jiving, man. Just jiving. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, oh my goodness, and now, Matias is, with him not being, part of this thing, trying to go over the matchroom, it looks like he's set up for another fight. He says against the former world champ. We'll see how that materializes. But yeah, for Regis, this is not necessarily, a good look for him career-wise. Hopefully he, doesn't get put in a trap where he's put in a tough matchup. But it kind of, what? I forgot about another fighter that was on Matchroom that was in the U.S. that got put into these crazy matchups or whatever it is, and it ended up being his downfall. And that's Mikey Garcia.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Another guy that got paid a lot of money for Matchroom.
And once again, Mikey Garcia, Jesse Vargas. Why would you pay $10 million for that dog with fleas?
Yeah, $10 million for that. I went to that fight too.
At the Star at Frisco. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, oh man, that was wild. That was wild. So yeah.
I tell you what, that was a stacked card with a lot of talent.
Yeah, there was a lot of talent in that card. Yes,
and once again, did it help DAZN drive subscriptions, subscription numbers in America? No, guys. And now, once again, that's the whole idea. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's what these events are supposed to produce for these platforms.
Right. Yeah, true. It's you're trying to bring more people in, not lose.
And so that going full circle now. That's why you're not going to see a Devin Haney Vasyl Lomachenko rematch. Yeah. Even though we both think that, yes, it would do much better than the first.
Much better if they had a rematch, but yeah.
But hey, man, it's already 11 o'clock your time, brother.
Yep. That's almost an hour and 45 minutes in here with this midweek report. But real quick, I have not heard much about Wilder's next opponent. Some people are saying it might end up being Anthony Joshua, but I'm like, come on, man.
Guys, he's not going to fight. In my opinion, he'll be very fortunate to fight ever again professionally. Because he's, once again, I'm going to use the car analogy. He is a hot rod that you paid an astronomical amount for. You still owe a lot of money on it, and you owe more than what it's worth. He's upside down. His demands are way too high for his market value.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's most definitely that. So, with that being said, man, that's going to bring a close to this particular episode of the Midweek Report.
Look at this idiot right here. He just stepped in here.
Yeah, I know. And I pretty much handle all that. So,
hey, brother, so, I'm gonna go live on my channel in a bit. If you want to come and join me, I'll even drop the link if you're man enough to share the air with me. Jimmy the Bully. Yeah, dude, I see you. Dude, you're a weak dick. Now, come on. My apologies, James. I know this is your channel. But yeah, James, thank you for always being the gracious host, sir.
Yeah, man, not a problem. And like I said, we got more coming up here on the Boxing Source YouTube channel. So for those that want to follow the Boxing Source here on YouTube, you could hit that subscribe button. Also, if you enjoyed this particular midweek report, hit the like button on there. It really helps us out there. So there's that. With that being said, that is the midweek report here for May 31st, 2023. And on that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good one, everybody.